All right, this is our prediction video. I am Tom, and this is my friend Dylan. Basically, how we're going to do this is we're going to say our predictions for tomorrow night, or I guess it's Thursday night. You'll be watching it when it's tomorrow night. Say our predictions, and then we are each going to rank each other's prediction and how likely it is going to be. Dylan is a tryhard and has 4 predictions. So he's going to start with his first 3. Then I will do my 1 prediction. Then he will close out with his 4th and final prediction.
It's my strongest.
It's a strong suit. So Dylan, go ahead and take the stage.
All right. So disclaimer, in no way, shape, or form am I smart. So
we know that.
This is me just guessing, obviously, because it's a prediction. So my first scenario, I'm going to have to kind of read it because I kind of paragraphed it. So Gideon assigns a small task force to take Grogu while Gideon, his regular stormtroopers, the dark troopers, fight all the heroes. So the heroes, in my eyes, would be Din, Boba, Fennec, Cara Dune, Bo-Katan, and the Night Owls. So it's still a small task force, but it's still dangerous enough to cause some damage. And basically, Gideon's the distraction. Grogu gets away, they don't get Grogu. Now, as far as what happens in the middle during the fight, who gets the Darksaber, who kills who dies, in that scenario, I don't know. But that was like the main bullet points of the first scenario. So what you think?
Right. I agree that I can see how Grogu potentially gets away and Gideon is a distraction. As far as the whole prediction, I give that one a 4 out of 10 likelihood.
It's still pretty vague. It's just
pretty
establishing the characters. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it's basic. I feel like it's realistic, but it's boring.
Yes.
Other than the fact that Grogu gets away and something happens with Gideon, whether he dies or prisoner, whatever.
Yeah, I don't think it will be that boring. I think they've got something up their sleeves, but continue.
100%. So, scenario 2. So, I remember when I wrote this earlier, I wrote it as pretty much the same group of characters as scenario 1, as far as the heroes are concerned, are entering into Gideon's cruiser. Something that Gideon does causes the team to split up. The team that goes towards Gideon is Bo-Katan and Din alone. Everybody else goes off, fights all the troopers, dark troopers, whatever's out there. So, leaning towards the Din and Bo-Katan side of things, what I wrote was Bo-Katan and Din confront Gideon alone, while the rest of the team fights the troopers in the cruiser. Bo-Katan tells Din, "Hey man, I got this. I'm going to kill him." But she nearly dies because Gideon is surprisingly a strong fighter. We still haven't seen him fight, so I think he's a good fighter. And then there's a moment, kind of a callback to episode 2, Clone Wars, where Dooku almost kills Anakin and Obi-Wan saves him. Or no, flip that. Dooku almost kills Obi-Wan, Anakin saves him, where he sticks a saber right before him.
Yeah.
I think something like that will happen, but with the Beskar spear. They fight. He beats Gideon, grabs his Darksaber off the ground and wields it, offers it to Bo-Katan. She says, "It's yours. You beat him in basically combat." He says, "No, I'm not a ruler." And then while that dialogue is going on, Gideon's laughing. They turn and look at him. He's like, "You have no idea what you're dealing with." And then in a new scene, we pan off to take pieces of scenario 1 where Grogu gets away with probably Dr. Pershing and a small task force of troopers. We arrive on Kamino, or Kamino shows up in the shot, hovering over the city, or as the ship's coming into Kamino, like over the water, the camera kind of pans up, and we see the Chimera, which is Thrawn's ship.
I like that. I definitely can see Din beating Moff Gideon and being noticed by other Mandalorians. And because he beat them in hand-to-hand combat against the dark saber, they're like,
Mhm.
"You're our leader now," and him being like, I'm not your leader." Like, so I think.
Right.
But do I think, how likely do I think that'll happen? I give that a 6 out of 10.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay. Okay.
And it's also kind of a callback to Sabine. Like, Bo-Katan really has never deserved it.
Yeah.
Sabine deserved it because she beat Paz Vizsla and then gave it to Bo-Katan. Now, if this comes to fruition, now we're going to have Din getting besting Gideon,
Yeah.
and then handing it to Bo-Katan. It's like, do you really deserve it?
Just getting handouts.
Neither here nor there. All right. So this one's kind of the same. It's just a different variation of the ending. So in scenario 3, Gideon sends Grogu away with a small force, just like the other two. The heroes fight. They win. Din beats Gideon, or somebody beats Gideon. I prefer it be Din because now he's all battered and bruised. Maybe his helmet's, ripped off and he's all bloodied. He's beating the ever-loving crap out of Gideon right now. Gideon is like dying from getting hit so much. Boba has to come in and stop him, pulls him off Gideon and reminds him that, hey, we need Gideon because Grogu's gone. We need him to find out where he went. Grogu and the small task force, I just keep calling it the small task force. So they arrive on a random planet we have no clue about. It could be one of those random planets that Star Wars Theory, the other massive YouTuber, mapped out where Gideon's ship could potentially going. It could be one of those random ones. Exactly. So it could be one of those. I can't remember all the names. But basically that's the end of that scene. But then we move on to a scene on back to Tython. We come back to Tython where the Seeing Stone was. So basically picture like the camera moving up the hill in a quick motion, and it gets level with the platform and the Seeing Stone. And it's kind of panning around in a circle around the big rocks that were kind of like this, the 6. And it kind of slows down and stops. And then starts slowly panning over again, left or right. And next thing you know, you see a big old boot. Not a big boot, but you see a boot, and then you see a Jedi cape or robe waving in the wind. And then boom. Season ends. A lot of cliffhangers.
Yeah, I think that is your strongest argument, actually. That is definitely similar to what mine is. So I'm gonna give it a 8 out of 10 likelihood.
I'm excited for the last one though.
Oh geez.
It's out there. I'll just say that.
It is out there.
It's probably gonna get negative, but it's cool.
Below 4? Is that your first? 4 was your first one, right?
4, 6, 8. Yeah, I'm on a
4,
trend,
6,
so.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, buddy. What you got for me?
So my scenario is pretty similar. It has similar themes to yours, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that the episode is going to be full of surprises, like big time. And what I mean by that is there's going to be things that the audience doesn't know that have already been put in place prior to the episode. So
okay.
I think starting off, it's going to be, Din, Boba, Finnick, and Cara. They're going to be essentially assaulting Gideon's forces because they know where he is.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to seem like it's really dire and they're losing. And then Bo-Katan and her group of Mandalorians are going to come in. And then the tide is going to turn to Din Djarin and his whole group and his crew. So they're going to start winning. Din Djarin is going to make it to the bridge or wherever Gideon is. And they've been setting it up all season. He's going to fight him with the spear. I can even see Gideon being like a legit fighter. And maybe Din Djarin loses his helmet, since they kind of set that up last time. Maybe he loses his helmet in the fight, gets messed up And also potentially other Mandalorians see him without his helmet on, but he continues fighting. I think somehow I potentially can see Gideon dying this season and them seemingly winning the fight, and
Mm-hmm.
he gets Grogu and it seems good. And, like it kind of shows them all like looking at Din Djarin without his helmet on, kind of the same scenario as you, is like you beat him, so like you're the leader sort of thing. And it seems like to be a really happy note. And then at the very end, we see Thrawn's Seventh Fleet come in out of hyperspace in the background. We're like, oh,
Yeah.
like, oh no, like this battle is far from over, basically. So, and
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of like the end of the episode, like the cliffhanger of the main core of the episode is we're bringing Thrawn in, or we're alluding that Thrawn and his forces are coming.
Mm-hmm.
And credits roll, post-credit scene. Basically exactly what you were saying is there's a Jedi figure that has arrived on Tython, and they don't show. All they show is a boot or a shoulder or something. And then YouTubers analyze that for the next year on whose boot it is. But that after showing that Thrawn is about to completely destroy this group, it gives us another little bit of hope that, okay, there's actually a Jedi coming.
I like that. That's pretty good. Oh, goodness. Okay. It's not too far-fetched. And my only thing right now with the Thrawn stuff, even in my predictions, is are they really wanting to overshadow Gideon at this point in time in this timeline?
My only other kind of like side theory to that, as opposed to Gideon losing and Thrawn coming at the end, would be Gideon is talking to someone that we don't really get a full image of on a hologram, but it's alluded to be Thrawn.
Like you hear that like soft-spoken but stern voice.
Something like that, yeah. So we're like, oh, he's talking to him. And that
Okay.
could even maybe be the ending. Maybe we don't even finish the fight in this finale. But the biggest thing is I think there's going to be a lot of surprises, and
Yeah.
they're going to do callbacks. Like I feel like, how at the beginning of every episode they're like, last time on The Mandalorian,
Mm-hmm.
and they show like a random scene.
It's gonna
You're
hit.
like, it's
Gonna
gonna be
go
like,
all over.
yeah, it's gonna like show like the frog lady, like like
She
what?
saves the day.
Yeah, she's gonna be chucking her eggs at him or something.
One of the surprises.
Yeah, that's a pretty big surprise. All right, how do you rank that?
I like the adaptation of a Thrawn hologram. Maybe Gideon's losing. He scurries away, makes a hologram call, and we see like half of his body, like stay like a vertical half of his body kind of thing, like maybe the back of him and his uniform, but we can tell it's somebody that's kind of blue. Maybe we don't even have to see that. We can just tell from his voice. He's like, Grand Admiral, I need your help. Like, help me out, man, kind of thing. And Thrawn's like, I warned you with these.
Or
he says something cool.
Because there haven't necessarily been any leaks of people portraying Thrawn or who could likely portray Thrawn in this episode or in this season. He doesn't even necessarily have to talk. It could just be like what you're saying, where it shows
just a fill-in.
a hologram of what Thrawn looks like, and the only thing we see, it's like a cutscene basically, and Gideon's like, yes, master, and then like that's it. And like Thrawn doesn't say anything, but we just see like, a little
like
bit
the
of
camera's
the
coming, like the camera's coming out of the hallway at the very end of the transmission, and Gideon's sitting there, dire look on his face, and he's like, yes, Grand Admiral, and then the transmission closes.
Yeah, and that could even be as Din is walking into the bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Like Din's
And
walking
then they
in,
fight.
and we see him just finishing this conversation with Thrawn, and then they fight. So it's like,
Insane.
yeah,
I like
exactly.
that. I'm gonna give that a, just because the Thrawn stuff, as cool as it is, and as much as I want to see Thrawn, because I am plowing through those books right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still gonna give it I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay,
I still think
fair.
I still think that's very strong. Can you still hear me?
I
Oh,
can.
that was weird. We all good?
We're good.
Okay. So you ready for scenario 4?
I'm ready to get weird.
All right, man. This is.
I hope Frog Lady's involved.
She's not. She's not.
Dang it.
And basically, scenario 4 is just pretty much the last 5 minutes. The rest of the episode could be a combo of all of ours.
Mm-hmm.
All the scenarios that we've gone over. So, bear with me. I'll do some explaining if I need to, but it's out there. But I think it is cool. All right. So, Grogu and Task Force arrive on Kamino. We're going back to Kamino. They're shuttling him out. He's like strapped down. He's held down by some sort of, Jedi restricting restraints. On their way to the laboratory, if you remember episode 2, it's like all tube, white, glossy hallways and whatnot. So picture yourself going down the hallway to the laboratory. Camera pans around to the room that they pass. And in that room, we see more Bacta tanks of more test subjects. Among those test subjects, we got another Zabrak, which is the species that Darth Maul was.
Darth Maul species.
A Twi'lek, which is what from Rebels is Hera Syndulla, as well as Arya Sakura, something like that. Ayla Sakura. She was the blue Jedi that died on Fallujah in episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get a human, but it's like a humanoid. I'm not hinting towards Snoke. I don't want any connection to that right now. But a deformed human that's been mutilated and deformed, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one we see, which we have no idea what it is, but it's a clear tank, is a Grisk. And the Grisks are the species from the unknown region that Thrawn runs into in his series.
Yeah, that would be
They're
huge.
Very dangerous, very warrior-esque. The way he describes them is like warrior nomads. They just travel in flocks. And I mean, I don't know a lot about them. I'm not done with the book. Maybe it goes into more explanation, but the fact that we don't even know what they look like, as I guess common Star Wars fans, where most people wouldn't know what they look like. There's like, oh, that's just a new alien. Cool. But it's one of those like Dave Filoni Easter eggs where it's like, maybe. I know he didn't write the book, but Filoni could pull that out and be like, I'm going to throw this in there. Because maybe we haven't been announced the Thrawn and Ezra series because we want to introduce Thrawn first.
Yeah, we don't know about that yet.
That could have been spoiled. Not done.
Okay.
So, Grogu arrives to his laboratory room, like the experimentation room. He gets locked up. Dr. Pershing and the Kaminoans, we get to see Kaminoans again, look up, like if you can imagine like a first floor and then like a second floor with a panel, like a see-through window, kind of like a second story viewing kind of area. So he looks up and he says, "Sir, I believe we're ready to continue with the experiments with the donor." The camera slowly pans up to the second floor window panel, showing the backside of a figure in the dark. The figure turns and walks to the intercom, and you hear, "Please do not let me hold you up any longer. Continue." That's it. But after the panel pans up again, because it's like I said, this is the microphone and I hit a button next to it. It's just showing the microphone and maybe my hand. Then the camera goes up to my face. Boom. Grand Admiral Thrawn. It's a little out there.
It's definitely out there. I
It's
think
out there.
I think the fact that they would potentially be trying to clone the Grisks, I think that's definitely like the most out there part. And
Hmm.
I don't think that they will show. I don't think that they will actually show Thrawn's face in this season. I don't
Yeah.
think that they might not even show him until the Ahsoka series, honestly.
Which I
Yeah.
think I'm okay with.
But I do
But
like that theory. I do like that. I like how
yeah,
weird it gets. Um,
yeah.
but yeah,
Because I think like
the likelihood of that happening is I'm gonna give that a 2 out of 10.
yeah. So my thinking was, throughout this season specifically, it's like we've been hinting towards Ahsoka has an episode, here's her series. Boba has an episode, potentially he has a series, we don't know yet. Or he's just going to be a main character in the next series or the next season.
Hmm.
I feel like this series is like the mainstay that we can just branch from. So introducing multiple characters isn't too far-fetched, which is why
Yeah.
I argue with myself about bringing Thrawn in, because I still think Gideon has a role to play, even after the finale. I don't think we've seen enough of him. He's just been a guy saying, do what I say,
Hmm.
hail Empire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And bringing Thrawn in could supersede him in a
Well,
way.
so
Like it would
to circle
overshadow.
back to the Grisks, I think that is actually I think them appearing in one of these new shows or new seasons is a huge possibility, especially if they're bringing Thrawn back, because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure I don't think it's canon, but in Legends at least, the Grisks were why Thrawn joined the Empire originally, because he saw this threat coming out and he's like, the Empire is the force that is going to be able to defeat the Grisks essentially. And he just rose to the ranks. So his ultimate mission throughout joining the Empire in Legends was essentially to protect his own kind, which is the Chiss,
Hmm.
from the Grisks. So if they bring that in, Thrawn is still essentially going through with what he initially set out to do and protect his people. And it doesn't matter if the Empire was his gateway to that. I can definitely see the Grisks coming in some aspect in these new shows.
Yeah. For one thing, I don't want to ruin the books for you. I'm like almost halfway done with the second one already.
Mm-hmm.
And the second one really gets into the Grisk. The first one was basically how he rose to the ranks. Second one is with some flashback episodes, or chapters that coincide with the both missions that they're doing at the same time, just in different time pieces, eras.
Mm-hmm.
But that one's really focused on the Grisk. So by the time I'm done with this book, I'll have a better idea of just the whole story of Thrawn, at least for
Yeah,
now.
from what they can pull from.
Yeah, because keep in mind, the Thrawn books were basically set in between episode 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So, like this series, as well as the prequel series of books, Chiss Ascendancy, that they're coming out with this year, it's another set of 3 books. Those are basically prequels. Maybe his rise to the ranks in the Chiss military.
Mm-hmm.
So, really, did Thrawn, I don't know, but did Thrawn kill all the Grisk and they're not a threat anymore? Maybe he's just got so comfortable with the Empire, and then comes the Phoenix Squadron and Ezra. Ezra takes him out to wherever with
Yeah.
the
Yeah, there's a
flying
lot of
Shamus.
possibilities. And we can definitely get into that in our reaction video, and next week
Yeah.
we're gonna have kind of an overview of the full season and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we can save that conversation for then, definitely. But
Especially after the finale.
as far as our predictions goes for tomorrow's episode, we're both kind of in the same mindset of it's gonna kind of be Empire Strikes Back, big
I don't think
reveal. Well, the kind of dark, big reveal at the end.
Yeah, I think the mainstay in mine was they don't get Grogu. I think that's the big thing. That's
Yeah.
like,
You don't
I
think they
feel
get
like that's
Grogu,
gonna
and I
happen.
think they do.
Yeah. I think that's one thing we can not obviously agree on, but that's the same theme that's in both of ours, but on separate wavelengths. Another thing is we're gonna get a fight with Gideon and the Darksaber. Somebody's gonna mess this dude up, or he's gonna mess somebody up, and then somebody will mess him up for messing them up. Some sort of combination of characters is gonna fight Gideon, and I think he holds his own for the most part. Um, do you think they're gonna fight on his ship, or do you think they're gonna fight on a planet or a moon?
I think it'll be. I think it'll be on his ship.
I think so too. I do think so too.
All right. Well, that's something we can agree on.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts before we all go watch this finale of this amazing season?
I think the episode will be incredible regardless of what we think. We're probably both completely wrong in every which way.
I think no matter what, this is going to be the biggest episode of the season, though.
There's a reason we're not the writers, so they know what they're doing. I trust them. Yeah, I do hope that it's a bit longer of a runtime than we've gotten the last two episodes. Mm-hmm. As good as those episodes were, I like my runtimes. So like 50 plus minutes, man. Give me that long, drawn out finale, but make it good, which it will be, I believe. Mm-hmm. And on top of that, this was lingering in the back of my mind, but I couldn't get set on somebody to pick. But I do think somebody is going to die.
Ooh, okay. Like, real quick. Death predictions. Big. My death prediction is Cara Dune.
Ooh.
That is my death prediction.
That's interesting. So I didn't think of her. That's good. What I've been kind of hearing and seeing from watching other various videos to try and piece together what I can come up with. A repetitive person that I've seen come up is Boba.
I think that's
as well as
I think
I don't think they're going to do it.
No, I don't think. I think Boba's going to stay. I think that's the easy answer to have Boba be killed in some heroic fashion. I think he stays. I think they go for the least likely person to die.
But I feel like it also should be impactful.
I think she would be impactful.
Right now, she could be, depending on what she does in the episode. She has helped him along the way, of course. But it's not impactful to the entire Star Wars fandom as a Boba would be, or Grogu, or Din himself. Now imagine Din doing it and it becomes Boba's show.
I don't see that happening.
I don't either. But, I mean,
we'll see.
I don't see it happening. Yeah, I think it's less likely than we'll see in an army of Grisks show up. So
yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, if that's all,
I think that's all, right?
All right. So we have
planning on posting our finale review, and we'll also add in season review, and that should be uploaded on Saturday.
Yep.
So
as well as we have up and running Twitter, we have Instagram, we have a TikTok. Obviously we're posting on YouTube, so be sure to check that out.
Yeah, check us out.
Yeah. Give us some love.
I'll put the links. Put the links in the description.
Yeah, of course. All the links will be in the description of everything that I've come up with for this thing. So
sounds good. Well,
enjoy
the show.
Enjoy it.
All right.